всем привет كومرا شاكر بخير وياكم جوزفيسكي ورجعنا لكم يا أصدقاء ويا تختيمة جديدة ويا ميتل جير سوليد اللي نزلت على بلاي ستيشن 1 اللي هواية من الناس بدت ويا هذا الجزء ويانا شباب الديسكورد. شوف شباب
اهلا
هلا والله بالشباب. طيب
اهلا بشباب طيبه ويلكم طبعا انا قلت لكم راح اخذ استراحه بس هاي مثل جير يا اصدقائي وانا وين اتحمل انه مثل جير
كل شيء مجموعه
اوكي يا اصدقائي. طبعا هاي الحلقه راح تكون حلقه رقم 0 حلقه مال بريفنج فايلز اللي هي يعني معلومات ما قبل المهمه. البريفنج مش بريفنج فايل قبل لا ندخل للمهمه وراح نعرف عليها هواي معلومات. سولد سنيك ايش صار وياه زائد شنو نوعيه هاي المهمه اللي راح يعني يروح لها. فشباب الديسكورد اوريدي مسوي لهم شير ودا يتفرجون ويانا. هاي الحلقه راح تكون بس نتفرج فقط نتفرج ومن ثم نناقش ورا كل كاسيت نناقش شويه. ما راح يكون بها جيم بلاي وراي راح تنزل لكم حلقتين باليوم حلقه 0 و1 مباشره بس راح يكون المفصولات حتى البريفنج فايل بواحد وراها نبلش بعد باللعبه بواحد راح يكون. فخلونا نبلش يا اصدقائي. هذا طبعا اول فايل شغلنا خلينا نشوف.
It's been a long time, Snake.
اوكي.
I should have known you were behind this, Colonel.
Snake, straight to the point as always.
What do you want from me?
I just invited you here so we could have a talk.
Invited? That's what you call sending armed soldiers after me?
Sorry if they were a little rough with you, but we've got a serious situation here. Only you can get us out of it.
I'm retired from Foxhound.
Okay.
You're not my commander anymore, and I don't have to take orders from you or anyone else.
You will take these orders. I know it.
Excuse me.
طبعا شفنا.
Who's this?
Dr. Naomi Hunter, the unit's chief medic, an expert in gene therapy.
Are you military?
No, civilian. I've been sent here from ATGC. Pleasure to meet you, Snake. Don't worry, this injection won't hurt a bit.
What's the shot for?
What's wrong? You don't like shots?
Snake, listen up.
Okay.
About 5 hours ago, an island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago called Shadow Moses Island was occupied by Special Ops soldiers.
What soldiers?
Next Generation Special Forces, led by members of Unit Foxhound. They've presented Washington with a single demand, and they say that if it isn't met, they'll launch a nuclear weapon.
Oh.
A nuclear weapon?
I'm afraid so. You see, the island is the site of a secret nuclear weapons disposal facility.
Foxhound hijacking a nuclear weapon?
Now you understand how serious the situation is. You have 2 objectives. First, infiltrate the nuclear weapons disposal facility and rescue the 2 hostages. They are DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and Kenneth Baker, President of Armstech.
Those are some heavy-duty hostages.
Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to launch a nuclear strike and stop them if they do. Any questions, Snake?
Questions? I haven't even said whether I'd accept this mission.
Well, you can make up your mind after you hear more about the situation.
اوكي خلينا نسمع. اوكي انتهى الكاسيت الاول يا اصدقائي. شفنا سولد سنيك جايبي وروي كامبل دا يحكوا يا اصدقائي. هذا روي كامبل ف جايبه فقال له معود ايش عندك جبتني هنا. انا شفنا الحوار احنا بصوره عامه انه سنيك اوريدي راح اروح يعني على الهايلايتد ثينكس يعني الهايلايتد موجوده. سنيك اوريدي تقاعد بعد الميشن اللي سويناه في زنزبار لاند وهنا الاحداث بعد 5 سنين يا اصدقائي من نهايه سنه 99 وهنا حاليا احنا في سنه 2005. فسنيك متقاعد من الفوكس هاوند فاكو وضع مشكله صايره في جزيرة صايرة بأرخبيل ألاسكا اللي هي اسمها شارموسز. هاي اكو ناس من الفوكس هاوند منشقين وخطفوا 2 مهمين، واحد رئيس واحد داربا تشيف والثاني رئيس ارمستيك. رئيس داربا تشيف اسمه دونالد اندرسون، والرئيس ارمستيك العفو اسمه كينيث بيكر. فخاطفيهم ودا يهددون العالم انه اذا ما يسوون مطالبهم راح يسوون ضربة نووية. ودا نشوف لحد الان سنيك ما مقتنع انه هو يريد يسوي مش دا قلت شدد مضروب منو قال لك انا الحق بالمهمة. فراي كامبل قال له اصبر لي اسمع التفاصيل حتى تعرف ممكن تقبلها او لا. خلينا نكمل.
Tell me about the nuclear weapon disposal facility.
The disposal facility includes a hardened underground base. Even with our most advanced intelligence gathering equipment, we can't tell what's happening inside.
So, someone needs to penetrate, gather intelligence, and report back. Sounds like a spy movie. What's the insertion method?
Well, an air insertion is impossible.
Not with this storm going on.
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
Approach?
Yes, within a few miles of it. The facility is equipped with sonar detection capabilities. They'd be able to hear our engine or propeller noise.
Yeah.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV.
SDV
Launch.
مثل الغواصة
Same as a
صغيرة،
torpedo.
مثل الطوربيد.
Only this has
يقعد
no
بيها شخص
propulsion
واحد.
device of its own. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim.
You want me to swim in sub-zero Alaskan water?
Don't worry. That suit represents the latest advances in polythermal technology. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As always, this is a one-man sneaking mission.
One-man sneaking mission. أكيد.
Weapons and equipment OSP.
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
اوكي انتهى الكاسيت الثاني. طانا معلومات يا اصدقائي حول الطبيعة مال المنطقة وشون راح تسلل بغواصة ويطلقوني مثل الطوربيد، غواصة تحمل الى شخص واحد الى حين انها تسلل داخل المنشأة مالتهم. هي منشأة للتخلص من الأسلحة النووية. فخلينا نكمل.
What's the time limit?
24 hours.
عندي 24 ساعة فقط.
They say they'll launch after 24 hours.
Do they say what the target will be?
So far, they haven't mentioned the target.
When did the countdown start?
5 hours ago.
اوكي اوريدي بادي يعني مرت 5 ساعات، يعني عندي 19 ساعة. شوفي. اوكي نكمل. قنطاج قارة.
Colonel, who are you speaking for?
Naturally, I'm representing the U.S. government.
So who's in supervisory control of this operation?
The President of the United States.
اوكي الرئيس بنفسه راح يكون هون.
So there's a lot of crap hitting fans in the White House basement.
No. At this point, they're still video conferencing with each other.
If that's a real nuclear warhead, shouldn't they issue a COG?
Not yet. The Secretary of Defense has operational control and is fully aware of the situation. After you infiltrate, if you determine they possess nuclear launch capabilities, a COG will be issued.
Well, if they haven't relocated to the nuclear shelter under Mount Washington, I suppose there isn't that much reason to worry. Yet. Is the National Security Agency in on this?
Yes, and so is the DIA. The Defense Intelligence Agency.
The DIA? I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this.
They'll be sending us some support.
We don't need desk jockeys. We need a nuclear weapons specialist.
100%.
Of course. A nuclear weapons specialist has already been assigned to us.
من هو؟ اخذت الجقارة منه وطفتها. نيومي هانتر الدكتورة اللي تعرفنا عليها هسه يا اصدقائي. نكمل.
We need backup from a specialist. I'm just an amateur when it comes to nuclear weapons.
بالضبط. سنيك وشو
I
يفهم؟
know. That's why I've requested the assistance of a military
Okay.
analyst named Nastasha Romanenko.
ناتاشا رومانينكو.
She'll be providing you
أو
backup by
نستاشا.
Kodak.
بس هي ناتاشا رومانينكو. هي راح تكون مختصة بالأسلحة
A
النووية.
female analyst?
سنيك عنده مشكلة.
She's
يعني
built up an
female.
impressive record as an advisor for the nuclear emergency search team. Contact her if you have any questions. She's also an expert on high-tech weapons.
Where's she working from?
Her home in Los Angeles.
California? California's a lot different than this place.
قاعد يلبس مهام أي شيء.
Colonel, you're retired. Why are you involved in
صدق
this?
كامبل هم يتقاعد بالأخير.
Because there aren't many people who know Foxhound as well as I do.
أوكي.
Is that the only reason?
متأكد؟
I've been soldiering for a long time. I don't know anything else. I guess even though I'm getting a little old, I still love to be in the field.
الله يا روي كامبل.
Colonel, you're a lousy liar. Tell me the real reason.
Okay, Snake. Sorry. I'll be frank.
اوكي شو راح يتبلد
A
تقول؟
person very dear to me
Oh.
is being held hostage.
Who is it?
My niece, Meryl.
اوه بنت اخوه اسمها ميرل امين محتجزه هناك، لهذا السبب هو رجع لا يساعد، يعني عنده اجندات، عنده دوافع شخصيه. ها كامبل
What was your niece doing there?
صدق شو سوى بنت اخوه؟
Several soldiers were reported missing the day of the revolt, and my niece was one of those called in as an emergency replacement.
اوه هم مسوين مثل الانقلاب، بعض اعضاء الفوكس هاوند يا اصدقائي.
She looks like you.
She's my little brother's girl. He died in the Gulf War, and since then I've been watching after her.
A personal motive, Colonel. That's not very soldierly.
I'm retired. I'm just an old man now,
اوه
and I'm your friend.
Since when are we friends?
I've thought of us as friends since the fall of Zanzibar
اوه
land.
يا الجزء السابق.
Haven't you had enough of a moody bastard like me?
No, that's the part of you I trust. Please, Snake.
كلش احب العلاقه
my
بين
niece,
كامبل
Meryl.
وسنيك. اوكي راح ننتقل للكاسيه الجديد.
All right. But I have two conditions.
اوكي عنده شرطين
Name
سنيك، خلينا
them.
نشوف شنو.
One, no more secrets between us. I
Okay.
want complete disclosure at all times. And two, I'll only accept orders directly from you, Colonel. No cutoffs involved, okay?
100%.
Agreed. That's why I was called. But one thing,
What?
I'm not a colonel anymore.
اوه كورنل.
Just a retired old warhorse.
I understand, Colonel.
وبعده يصيح لك كورنل، يعني يحترمه لسبب صداقتهم. بعد شلون قاعدين. اوكي
That doctor, is she part of this operation too?
يقصد على نيومي هانتر اللي وراه.
She was in charge of Foxhound's gene therapy. She knows more about those men than anyone else.
اوكي لان عندها خبره بالجين ثيرابي.
So, She's used to seeing men naked.
Make no mistake. I'm not a nurse. I am a scientist.
By the way, what was that injection for?
It's a combination of nanomachines and an anti-freezing peptide so that your blood and other bodily fluids don't freeze, even at subarctic temperatures.
Nanomachines?
Not just one kind either. There are different types which will replenish the supply of adrenaline, nutrition, and sugar in your bloodstream.
هاي
Now
الحقنة
I don't have to
بيها
worry about food.
هاي نانو ماشين
I also put some
مثل
nootropics
رقاقات
in there.
تختلط بدم الشخص.
Say what?
Nootropics. A class of drugs which will help improve your mental functioning.
It'll make me smarter, huh? Anything else?
Yes. It's a type of stimulant. It'll keep you alert and responsive for 12 straight hours.
راح ترفع عندي قوة التركيز هاي.
That was quite a cocktail. Anything else in there?
Those nanomachines will also keep your codex batteries charged up.
بطارة اللاسلكي ما راح تبقى مشحونة بسبب.
I guess I can
والله
call you
أريد
when I'm ready to
نشوفه.
go on a diet.
You're welcome.
اوكي عرفنا ميزات الأوبرا اللي أخذناها يا أصدقائي.
The chief of DARPA and the president of an arms manufacturing
اوكي
company.
دول الرهينتين اللي لازم ننقذهم.
What business did they
بجانب
have at a
ابنة
nuclear
أخو
weapons disposal
العقيد.
facility?
The truth is that secret exercises were being conducted at the time the terrorist group attacked.
اوكي لما سووا ثورة وسووا انقلاب كانوا هم اوريدي
Must
هناك
be
موجودين.
extremely important exercises if those two were directly involved. Were they testing some kind of new advanced weapon?
I'm not privy to that information.
Do we know exactly where they're being held?
The DARPA chief has also been injected with a mini transmitter. As you get closer,
transmitter.
you should be able to pick up his location on your radar.
اوكي داربا تشيف راح يكون احنا اوريدي محقون بترانسميتر فراح نقدر نتعقبه يا اصدقائي.
Do they really have the ability to launch a nuclear missile?
They say they do. They even gave us the serial number of the warhead they plan to use.
اكيد يعني عندهم.
Was the number
بدأ
confirmed?
يشاقون.
I'm afraid so. At the very least, they've got their hands on a real nuclear warhead.
Isn't there some kind of safety device to prevent this type of terrorism?
Yes. Every missile and warhead in our arsenal is equipped with a PAL, which uses a discrete detonation code.
PAL?
PAL.
Permissive Action Link.
Permissive
The
Action
safety
Link.
control system built into all nuclear weapon systems. But even so, we can't rest easy.
يعني الصاروخ ما ينطلق
Why
الا
not?
بهذا ال PAL.
Because the DARPA chief knows the detonation code.
داربا يعرفه اللي هو دونالد أندرسون.
But even if they have a nuclear warhead, it must have been removed from its missile. All the missiles on these disposal sites are supposed to be dismantled. It's not that easy to get your hands on an ICBM.
That used to be true. But since the end of the Cold War, you can get anything if you can pay the money.
Okay.
How well armed are these terrorists? I know there was an exercise going on at the time they revolted.
They're heavily armed, I'm afraid.
What about their battle experience?
The six in charge are plenty tough. After all, they're foxhound people.
اكو 6 مسؤولين ومن بعدهم جينوم سولجرز.
The others are next generation special forces.
Next generation.
They're not your average grunts either.
ذولا يعني جينوم سولجرز ذولا ادراكهم الحسي اقوى او يعني.
So what exactly are they demanding?
كل شيء عندهم اقوى يا اصدقائي.
A person's remains.
Remains?
يريدون جثة.
That's right.
جثة منو؟
To be more accurate, cell specimens which contain the individual's genetic information.
Cell specimens? Why would they want that?
The terrorists need them. You see, these next-generation special forces have been strengthened through gene therapy.
Yep.
Genes? Strengthened?
You've heard of the Human Genome Project. They've been mapping the human genome and they're nearly finished. Following up on this research, The military has been working towards identifying those genes, which are responsible for making effective soldiers.
There are genes that do that?
Yes, and using gene therapy, they're able to transplant those genes into regular soldiers.
وهذول الريجولار سولجرز صاروا اقوى.
Gene therapy?
I'll explain this part. With gene therapy, it becomes easy to remove genes that cause sickness and disease, or, alternatively, to splice in additional genetic material.
In other words, we can overcome all sorts of genetic diseases and at the same time add genetic characteristics as desired.
كارثة هاي يعني يقدرون
Okay, and so if you knew what genes were
خواص أي
responsible
شخص
for making the
بشخص ثاني.
perfect soldier, you could implant them in the same way, right?
Yes, we could.
But it all depends on being able to isolate and identify those soldier genes.
And in order to do that, it's helpful if you can study the genetic information of one of the greatest soldiers ever.
اوه هو يريد منو هذا الأعظم جندي؟
One of the greatest soldiers ever.
The man they called the greatest warrior of the 20th century.
أفضل محارب في
You
القرن
don't
العشرين.
mean Big Boss.
Holy shit,
That's
man!
right. We've been working feverishly to identify the genes responsible for his incredible
Holy
combat
shit.
skill. So far, we've discovered about 60 of the so-called soldier genes.
أقوى جندي يريدون جيناته، أقوى جندي في القرن العشرين.
So his body was recovered after all.
Yes,
بعد ما
and his
حرقناه.
cells have remained frozen in a cryo chamber. His genetic
يعني ورا ما
information
حرقناه
is a
ساعدوا
priceless
جثته.
treasure to mankind.
Holy shit.
Priceless to the military, perhaps.
His body was burned severely, but it was possible to restore his DNA profile from just a single strand of his hair.
Oh, heck, it's like some kind of dinosaur theme park. And you're gonna put these genes into soldiers?
Yes. We'll use a process that I discovered called gene targeting. The strongest soldiers don't become what they are by acquiring their skills through training or experience. We now know that hereditary factors are far more crucial for creating superior soldiers.
كارثة هاي شباب الحركة.
Snake, we can't hand over his body. It's more strategically important than any weapon of mass destruction.
100% جثة البيج بوس هاي.
I hear the terrorists are calling themselves the Sons of Big Boss.
اوه يلخبون نفسهم. Sons of Big Boss.
The son's a big boss.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Tell me about these next generation special forces.
They started out as an anti-terrorist special ops unit, made up of former members of biochem units, technical escort units, and the nuclear emergency search team. Their purpose was to respond to threats involving next-generation weapons of mass destruction, including NBC weapons.
Until they were added, that is.
Who's they?
These guys didn't start out as regular army.
Looks like a pretty international group. Mercenaries?
Yeah, and it gets worse. Most of them were from a merc agency that I think you're familiar with. They were part of Big Boss's private guard.
أوه.
And after Big Boss went down, the military just bought out all their
ورا ما
contracts.
سقط البيج بوس قبل 5 سنين الجيش اشترى عقودهم وشغلهم. كانوا الحرس هم البيج بوس.
Outer heaven.
Outer heaven.
After that, they were merged with our own VR unit Force 21 and retrained. If you ask me, these so-called next-generation special forces should be called simulated soldiers. They have no real battle experience.
اوه
Soldiers of the video game generation, huh?
لين بالفي ار
Don't
كانوا
forget, they've
يتدربون.
all been
بالواقع
strengthened with
الافتراضي.
gene therapy. They carry genes which make them excellent soldiers. Don't get careless just because they don't have much experience.
I thought international law banned the military use of genetic therapy.
Yes, but those are just declarations, not actual treaties.
The interesting thing is that nearly every member of the unit conspired in this attack.
اوكي اكتشفنا ان هم اصدقائي ما عندهم
How
خبره
can an
ميدانيه
entire unit
بالفي
be
ار
subverted to rebellion?
They're calling it a revolution.
Since they all went through the same gene therapy, they probably felt closer than brothers. They see the unit as their only family.
The sons of Big Boss.
العصبه.
But if they were regular army, they must have been interviewed periodically by army counselors.
According to their files, they all got straight A's on their psychological tests. They all seemed like fine, upstanding, patriotic soldiers.
But they all took part in the uprising?
No. Several people didn't show up on the day of the exercise. That's why there was a resupply of troops.
Was there any sign recently that something might be wrong?
There was a report a month ago that they were acting strangely.
Apparently they consulted classified information about the soldier genes and performed their own gene therapy experiments.
They can do that, even without you?
Well, our gene therapy process is almost completely automated. And besides that, they're all geniuses with IQs over 180.
عباقرة.
Even the existence of this genome army is a national secret of the highest order. We had been hoping to investigate this thing quietly and deal with it behind closed doors.
كارثة يا اخي ذولا شلون؟
هو اينشتاين 121 دولار شلون 180
لا يا 121
High-tech
معود.
Special Forces Unit
لا اينشتاين
Foxhound,
عالي.
your former unit, and one that I was the
that's
commander of.
160 اينشتاين.
An elite group combining firepower and expertise. They're every bit as good as when I was commanding them.
اعرفكم سموك مونستر
So
اخوي
they're still
الكبير
around.
عمراني.
كانوا هم كلهم
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mantis, with his powerful psychic abilities.
اللي هو
Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus,
دول
master
الستة يا
of
أصدقائي
disguise.
اللي مسوين الانقلاب.
Vulcan Raven, Giant and Shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter.
صديقي شلون العفو
Sounds like a bunch of
I'm
cartoon
sorry.
characters.
بس سمعت
And
اسمه شنو
finally,
قلت؟
in charge of them, Foxhound Squad Leader, Liquid Snake.
ليكويد
Oh.
سنيك.
Liquid Snake.
Yes, and you're the only person who can stand against him.
جتني شهيقة بعد
Liquid
ما تروح.
Snake.
راح اجل
Liquid
التصوير.
Snake, the man who shares your code
Oh.
name, the solid versus the liquid.
Solid versus
Tell me
liquid.
what you know.
He fought in the Gulf War as a teenager, the youngest person in the SAS. His job was to track down and
الSAS هي
destroy
القوات
mobile
الخاصة
Scud missile
البريطانية يا
launching
أصدقائي.
platforms.
شاركت بحرب الخليج.
You were there too, I believe. Didn't you infiltrate western Iraq with a platoon of Green Berets?
عادي مالتك الشهيقة.
I was just a kid myself back then.
The details are classified, but it seems that originally he penetrated the Middle East as a sleeper for the SIS.
He was a spy for the British Secret Intelligence Service?
But he never once showed his face in Century House. He was taken prisoner in Iraq, and after that there was no trace of him for several years. After you
Oh,
retired, he was
so-
rescued and became a member of Foxhound.
I thought that by the time I left, they were no longer using code names.
I don't know his real name. That information is so highly classified that even I can't look at it. Here's a photo of him. Pretty shocking, huh? His skin tone is different, but otherwise, you two are exact duplicates.
I have a twin?
I don't know the details, but it seems so. That's why we really need you for this mission.
You're the only one who can beat him. Now that I've met you, I know. You've got something that he doesn't.
Why don't I find that thought more comforting?
اوكي يا اصدقائي، خلصت هنا الفايلات مال مال
الفايلات مال منو عمار؟
مال البريفنج.
اوكي
سوري يا اصدقائي، بس ما ادري منين جتني، وانا بعد ما تروح الا اخذ حبوب.
طبعا ان شاء الله شاسكه مخوفك الظاهر، بس ما تسمع جتك.
فشفنا معلومات عن اللي منو سوى الانقلاب. ويلي الشخصيات ما اشيل هاي الشخصيات.
استمر.
الشخصيات اللي او ماي جاد، هاي شو مشكلة.
خلص هاي
واحد يحكي شباب. الشخصيات اللي مسوية الانقلاب، اسمائها وكل من هو تخصصه، وشفنا معلومات على الجينوم، على الجين ثيرابي، العلاج الجيني وشلون ينقلون جينات، وشفنا يريدون جثة البيج بوس يا اصدقائي
اوه ماي
حتى
جاد.
يستخدموها، لان يعتبروا هو اقوى محارب او جندي في القرن العشرين، فيريدون يستخدمون مات الجينات حتى يطورون على الجنود. فهاي مهمة سولد سنيك يا شباب، ونعرف منو لازم ينقذ. داربا تشيف دونالد اندرسون، اللي اسمه دونالد اندرسون، وكينيث بيكر اللي هو رئيس شركة ارمستيك مال اسلحة، وبنت اخو العقيد روي كامبل اللي اسمها ميرل. فهذا الفيديو، هاي الحلقة حتكون حلقة 0. الحلقة مال بريفينج ما قبل المهمة، والحلقة اللي وراها راح تكون نبلش باللعب. فهاي الحلقة رقم 0، ومن بعدها نبلش بالحلقة الأولى. هذا كل اللي عندنا بهاي الحلقة يا أصدقائي. لا تنسون اللايك، وانتظرونا بالحلقة الأولى. راح أحاول أنزلهم ذن الحلقتين اثنيناتنا بنفس اليوم. شكرا لكم هواية، وانتظركم بالحلقة الأولى. يلا باي باي.